Have you ever felt like classical music is some kind of secret club and you just don't have the password? Well, you're not alone. But today, we're going to change all that. We are going to build a simple toolkit that's going to turn you from a passive listener into an active, engaged explorer. It's going to be fun.
So this quote, it's from a music professor at Yale, and it just hits on something that trips a lot of us up. You know, you see Beethoven's Fifth Symphony on your music app, and the button says By Song. So naturally, you think, okay, it's a song. But is it? Well, not exactly. And figuring out why is actually our first key to hearing this music in a whole new way. See, here's the thing. For something to technically be a song, it's got to have words, lyrics. But get this, a whopping 80% of all classical music is purely instrumental. There are no words at all. The music itself is the story. So instead of calling it a song, we tend to use words like piece or work. But we can do even better than that. Okay, so tool number 1 in our toolkit is all about understanding genre. Think of it like this. When you press play on a classical piece, you're not just wandering into a forest with no idea where to go. Nope, there is almost always a blueprint, a map that tells you exactly what to expect. Now, genre might sound a little academic, but really it just means a type or kind of piece. It lays out the big picture structure. So knowing you're listening to a symphony, for example, is kind of like knowing you're about to watch a movie with a beginning, a middle, and an end. You have a roadmap for the journey you're about to take.
Let's take the symphony. It's one of the most famous genres out there. It almost always follows this 4-part plan. You get this big, exciting opening, then things slow down for a beautiful, more emotional second part. The third part usually feels like a dance, and then it all wraps up with a huge, fast, and powerful ending. Once you know this basic plan, you're never lost. You can actually follow right along with what the composer wanted you to hear. All right, so we've got the blueprint, the big picture. Now let's zoom in and look at the actual building blocks. See, not all melodies are the same. Some are like a quick punch, and others are more like a long, flowing poem. And that brings us to our second tool, understanding the difference between a motive and a theme. And you know what? Beethoven's Fifth Symphony is the perfect place to see this in action. That super famous opening, da-da-da-dum-dum, that's a motive. It's tiny, just 4 notes. Someone once called it a musical punch in the nose. But then you get to the second part of the symphony, and Beethoven gives you this absolutely gorgeous, sprawling melody that's 32 notes long. See the difference? One's a tiny little cell, the other is a full sentence. Spotting those is a game changer. So we've got structure and we've got melody. Tool number 3 is all about color. We're going to shift from what the music is playing to how it sounds. We're talking about the unique voice, the sonic color that every single instrument has. And that special quality, it's got a name. Timbre. I mean, really think about it. A trumpet and a viola can play the exact same note. Let's say it's a middle C. They're playing the same pitch, but you would never, ever mistake one for the other. So why is that? What's going on? Well, the answer is timbre. Timbre is just the unique character of a sound. It's its fingerprint. It has nothing to do with how high or low the note is or how loud or soft it is. It's that special texture that makes a flute sound all bright and airy, while a cello sounds so deep and rich. It's basically the box of crayons the composer gets to play with. And here's the cool part, the science behind it. When an instrument plays a note, it's not just making one sound. You hear the main tone, sure, but mixed in are a bunch of other quieter, higher sounds called overtones. And every single instrument has its own unique recipe of which overtones are loud and which are soft. That specific blend, that recipe, is what gives an instrument its signature sound. Okay, it's time to put all of this together. We've got our blueprint, our building blocks, and our colors. So how does a composer use all of these to tell a story without saying a single word? Well, for this, we have to look at this absolutely brilliant piece by Modest Mussorgsky that literally paints a picture of a giant, heavy ox cart. Let's see how he does it. To pull this off, Mussorgsky uses 2 really simple but incredibly powerful tools. First, he uses dynamics, which is just a fancy word for volume. The music starts quiet, gets really loud, and then fades away again. And second, he uses instrumentation. He's super careful about which instruments, which timbres he uses, and when. So the piece kicks off really quietly. All you hear is this low, heavy melody played by a tuba. That low, rumbling timbre, combined with the quiet volume, it's just a perfect painting of this huge, heavy cart creaking along way off in the distance. You can just feel it slowly getting closer. And then, bam, the music just explodes. More and more instruments jump in. The strings, all the brass, the booming percussion, the volume cranks up to this massive roar. And that's the moment the ox cart is thundering right past you, so close you can practically feel the ground shaking under your feet. It's an incredible visual image created with nothing but sound. And then, just like that, it's over. The sound starts to fade, the high-pitched instruments drop out one by one, and you're left again with just those low, rumbling sounds as the cart slowly disappears over the horizon. And here's a cool little detail. Mussorgsky knew that low-frequency sounds travel farther, so the last thing you hear are the low instruments, just like it would be in real life. How amazing is that? So there you have it. You're not just hearing notes anymore. You are officially equipped to understand how this music is built, what it's trying to say, and how it's telling its story. You've officially got your listener's toolkit.
So don't forget these tools. The genre, that's your roadmap. The motives and themes, those are the little ideas and big sentences. The timbre, that's the color palette. And things like dynamics, the louds and softs, well, that's the shading that really makes the story pop. With these 4 tools, you can unlock pretty much any piece of classical music you come across.
So the next time you press play on a symphony or a concerto or anything else really, listen for these things. Listen for the blueprint. Listen for the building blocks. Listen for the colors. I promise you're going to be amazed at the incredible worlds that start to open up to you. So the only question now is, what stories are you going to hear?